Thanks very much. For those people that know Chris Gale, you'll know that I'm not him. Unfortunately, his flight's been delayed, so luckily for you, I'm here. So my name's Tony Greenaway. I'm the VP Operations for Latin Resources and have been driving our Salinas project in Brazil for a number of years. Happy to present here for you today. This presentation is actually meant for a much longer period, so we'll have to skip through quite a few, so my apologies for that. We've got an experienced board of directors. We're building a very experienced management team with myself, Aaron, and Mike in country, looking to take this project from where we are now, which is exploration, through to development. A very quick snapshot of where we are. Currently trading around about 22 cents with a market cap sitting around 600. We have 52 million in the bank at the moment, so we're fully funded all the way through till the end of this year. We are midstream in our DFS, so heavily involved with that at the moment, and I'll talk you through that. We've got strong institutional investment here in Canada, the US, and in fact down in Brazil, so very strongly positioned from that sense. The project itself sits in the state of Minas Gerais in Brazil. It's a very strong mining culture through there. There's over 300 mining operations in country. It's the third biggest economy in Brazil. Power through this region is all hydro, so it's green. It's cheap. We're looking at about 3 cents a kilowatt hour for power. We have a port about 380 k's away as the crow flies, 500 by road. The main highway just runs north of the project itself, and we have access to water just outside the town of Salinas, which is about 40,000 people, of which we employ 100. The governor of Minas Gerais, Governor Zema, is a gentleman in the middle there next to Ana Cabral, who people may know from Sigma, is a very strong supporter of lithium in Brazil, and particularly the Lithium Valley. He can certainly see the benefits to Brazil and Minas Gerais in helping develop these projects, and certainly is heavily involved with what we're doing, and we've been given priority status with the state of Minas Gerais, which helps our approvals timeline and reduces the timeline from about 18 months to about 6 months. So certainly very strong support, which is great for us to drive this project forward. The project itself is very simple. Geology is, a series of stacked pegmatites. We have a number of prospects that we're looking to explore. We are focused on the Colina project, which is our main deposit in the northern part of the project. You can see there. Currently, the resources globally sit at 70 million tonnes. 63 of those are at Colina itself. We just recently declared a maiden resource for Fogg's Block, which is about 12 kilometres away. That's about 7 million tonnes in there, but we have a pipeline of new prospects that we're looking to explore over the next little while. And certainly, as an explorationist, I'm targeting something north of 100 million tonnes where we want to get to for this project. But our DFS is based on the 63 million tonne resource at Colina itself. You can see there the breakdown of the resources, primarily in indicated and inferred at the moment. We've currently got 15 drilling rigs on site. 11 of them are sitting within the footprint of the pit to look to transfer that up to measured and indicated, so we can then look at transferring that across into reserves in due course. My target is around about 50 or so million tonnes, 55 million tonnes into measured and indicated, so that then will be available for conversion across into reserves in due course. It's a series of stacked pegmatites dipping to the east. You can see them there. They are open at depth, and indeed some of our thickest intersections, and we're talking plus 30 metres at nearly 2% lithium, are at the bottom of that. They're still open and continue at depth. I'm not chasing them down there just at the moment. You're looking at about 400 metres below surface at the bottom of those pegmatites. So whilst there is potential for underground mining, it's not something we're chasing at the moment. You're looking at 20 years plus in terms of mine life at the moment with that resource, so we don't need to be going drilling deeper anytime soon. Again, just a couple of drill sections through there. You can see those, but unfortunately, I'll just skip through those. But suffice to say, we have a lot more growth here, and we can continue to extend our resource along strike and at depth when we want to. As I said, we're neck deep in our DFS at the moment. We've been basically started that off mid last year, I guess. That is on schedule to be finished mid this year. We've got a strong team in led by SGS here in Canada, who ran the DFS for Sigma, so they're aware of how to operate in this area. They know the various things that they need to know about getting projects underway in Brazil. Bateman obviously looking at Process and Minsol, who are the guys that run DMS processing for Greenbushes back in Australia. So we have a strong support team from that sense. Algia is a local Brazilian group that are running the environmental and mining approvals for us. This is their speciality. They got the Sigma Lithium project approved. So they are very much aligned with where we need to go and the time frame we need to get to, which I'll run through in just a little bit. Met test work is something that's really strong for us. Our project is solely spodumene. We don't have any other lithium credits within our mineralisation. No petalite, lepidolite, etc. All of our lithium comes from spodumene, and that means that it's very amenable to very simple DMS processing. So we've done a lot of met test work over the last sort of 18 months. We've currently got about 3.5 tonne of material going through SGS Lakefield here in Canada, and that's really just to run a larger set of test work. We don't think there's going to be any real change. You can see we're getting incredible recoveries through there from the DMS. Obviously 93% is not something that will be run of mine, but what it says to us and to the guys at Minsol is that this material handles very, very well in that simple processing environment. So I think we're running around about 5% odd in the DFS for the through this processing, and a little bit of upgrade from spirals as well at the back end, which is again something that Minsol have brought in from Greenbushes to add a bit to the tail. Again, mining studies are well underway. We're currently drilling, as I said, so the resource will be finished probably around the end of March. So into May, we'll give that number across to the mine design guys. But we're already well and truly established within the mining profile. You can see this is a large open pit. It's about 1 kilometre wide, 2.5 kilometres long. It captures a lot of the ore already in the PEA, but we'll obviously rerun those numbers for the DFS. Very simple layout. You can see infrastructure there in those 4, 5 and 6. And the waste dump there sitting in number 2. The mineralisation does extend to the southeast, so sort of to the north of that picture. And right at the end of that waste dump, we do have a new prospect through there called Planalto. We've drilled only one hole into that, but we've got 45 metres of pegmatites in that running, with a major pegmatite there just under 20 metres running at 2%. So we do have a big pipeline of growth that we will be exploring, and my team will sort of switch away from infill drilling that we're doing at the moment, back to exploring those new prospects that we're pretty keen to get into. Processing design has been well underway for a while. You can see it's very simple. Primary crushing at about, I think it's 3.6 million tonnes per annum. We are limiting the DMS processing at the moment to one stream of 1.5 million tonnes per annum. The reason we do that is for permitting. We have a cap on the first 2 years of production running at 1.5 million tonnes throughput. But this is all designed to then ramp up to full production of around 500,000 tonnes per annum of concentrate. We are looking at some ore sorting. You can see that at number 5 in there. We've extended our met test work program to look at that for grade control and for dilution aspects. Currently, we've got some material running through Tomra to look at how we can do that. It works very well at these early stages, but it's certainly something that we're considering looking into the main flow sheet. Again, very simple processing, and unfortunately I don't have time to go into a great deal of detail about this, but suffice to say it's a simple crushing, screening, DMS processing to produce a concentrate at the back end. Infrastructure-wise, again, as I said, this is a single open pit. It's about 10 k's outside the town of Salinas. We have a good workforce there already. I employ 100 people out of the town. All of our contractors live in the town. We've about 350, 400 people on site with our drilling contractors and other people. We are a big presence in the town. We're adding a lot of value to the town, and certainly that's helping us with our licence to operate from the social environment through there. In terms of infrastructure, you can see the image at the top there. The road, the access road, is a gazetted track. It's a gazetted road. We will need to upgrade that so that it's all weather. It's a little bit rough in some places, but certainly we're working with the local municipality to upgrade that. We will lay a water pipeline along that same pathway at the same time. We will also be running power through that same access road as well. Again, we've got a main hydro power lines running through Salinas. There is capacity at the junction boxes in there, so we'll just be taking off from those and running power and water to the site, along with that all-access road. And then we're out to the main highway and off to the port. Closest port to us is Port Ilias. It's about 380 k's as the crow flies, 500 by road. There are 3 ports that we're looking at to utilise. They are all vying for business. So, we're having offers of building infrastructure, all of these sorts of things to help garner support for their own ports. So that's a great place for us to be in. We're running through that process now as which is the best for us, and it's good to be in that position. Environmental and social governance is very strong. It's part of operating in Brazil and in Latin America. It's something that we've been focused on from day one. I've got a very good team led by Vitor there, the guy at the front of the lecture theatre or the front of the school there, who's out every day talking to the local communities, working with the communities, and he's actually moved his family into the town of Salinas to embed himself in there, and that certainly is boding very well for us. About half of my team that were drive-in, drive-out or fly-in and fly-out, they've now moved into the town. And again, it really bodes well for the local community, shows that we're there to support them, and that helps us in getting their support to push this project forward. We are looking at some youth employment schemes, we're looking at education schemes, and looking to, bring that community along with us on the journey as we push this project into development. These are the PEA numbers that came out towards the end of last year. And as I said before, we've got a resource base now in the order of 63 million tonnes. I'm looking to have about 50 to 55 available for conversion to reserves. These numbers were based on the previous resource, which is around about 26 million tonnes. So we're looking at doubling the amount of material available for the DFS, and you can see the very strong economics for this project, even at that 26 million tonne level. A 3.6 billion NPV, 132% IRR, 7-month payback. All-in sustaining costs around 530. That is CIF into China. If we look at sending this material into the US, which is certainly one of the places that we are looking at for our offtake discussions, and I'll get onto that in a minute, that saves about $40 a tonne. So we've also got low capex, $250 odd million in there, of which 40 is contingency. So again, it's very low cost, very low operating cost, a very strong and robust economics for this project, even at that level, which is the 26 million tonne base case. As I said, we're expecting this to change significantly with the DFS. We don't expect the sustaining costs to change. We don't expect the capex to change, but obviously an 11-year mine life will jump up significantly once we double that resource base. Those numbers, by the way, were based on a basket price of $16.99, which we got smacked for a bit at the time, thinking it was a bit conservative. Hindsight says it probably wasn't. We are obviously looking at those numbers as we go, and to look at what number we're going to use for the DFS as we run that through. Just to see where we are in terms of the global top 10 mines. You can see the 200 is our early limited case to start with, and we ramp up to 500,000 tonne per annum concentrate, which certainly puts us on the world stage of production. And us combined with Sigma puts Brazil at number 2 or number 3 globally for spodumene concentrate, and that's what's making Governor Zema stand up with investments, opportunities like BYD moving into Brazil to look to build EVs in country. He certainly can see the benefits of helping us get projects like this up into production. Capex and funding, you can see a bit of a breakdown of the Capex through there. The lion's share of the Capex of that 253 is obviously mining. There's a lot of pre-strip to do out to the west of the project, where we have some weathered material that needs to come off the top of the ore body. Process infrastructure, you can see there at 78. The phase 2 is the second DMS unit that comes in. That will obviously be funded from revenue from phase 1. So all in all, 253 million. There's about 40 million you can see there in contingency. We haven't added ore sorting into that, and that will come in if and when we need that in due course. But again, it's something that we're looking at to help us with dilution. With a series of stacked pegmatites as they are, we need to look closely at that, and that's certainly something that the mining people are getting all on top of at the moment. You can see the C1 unit cost there, all-in sustaining of around $280 odd bucks for the annual cost. So pretty good, 530 a tonne. Again, mining is the biggest cost in there, and that's something that our mining engineers and the scheduling guys are working on pretty closely. Any savings we can look at in there are certainly well thought. We're already with moving of the mine infrastructure, etc., from this initial PEA numbers. We're already saving a lot of money on trucking and what have you, just in and around the pit. So certainly we're working on those, and they will come out in due course. This is a quick snapshot of Sigma, and we put this slide up because this is our pathway. These guys have done a fantastic job. They're in production, selling concentrate, generating money. They built this and in about 18 months from discovery to production in less than 5 years. This is the pathway for us. All of the guys, all of the contractors that worked on this project are now working for us. They are looking at the pitfalls that these guys had and helping us avoid those as we go through. So we think we're going to be very well positioned to take our project through, and we're using this as a blueprint for us to take our project forward. In terms of development schedules, you can see there the upgrade in the resource is coming out in the probably the end of the first quarter of this year. So I've probably got about another month or so of drilling. We'll crunch the numbers, so around May we'll have our final resource for the DFS. As I said, I'm targeting something around about 50 odd million tonnes in that measured and indicated, but we'll see what that comes out at. SGS here in Canada are doing that. DMS pilot plant work is underway and going. The PEA is out and finished. We are currently running through the offtake partnership. I just need to make sure I'm getting the right order there. So we opened the books for offtake discussions in November of last year. At the moment, we are fully unencumbered. We own 100% of this project. It is all available for offtake discussions. We have no royalties, nothing. So we've done that on purpose so that we can enter into these discussions openly and know what we've got to sell and how the best pathway for us is to take that forward. Those discussions are going very well, and equally, as Atlantic said before, there's no short of appetite for looking to secure these type of projects for the longer term. Environmental approvals are well underway. They started over a year ago. We submitted our permits in November of last year. They've gone through the notice period for community. We're now into the assessment period. We expect to have those back in the back end of this year. So by the end of this year, we'll have a completed DFS. We'll be fully permitted. We'll have offtake in place. So final investment decision at the end of this year to start construction in 2025. And given that same Sigma timeline of around about 18 months, we should be in production in the middle of 2026. And as I said, with 52 odd million in the bank at the moment, we are funded all the way through till the end of that, end of this year. And that includes some pre-work, so looking at upgrading that road that I showed you before, getting power and water to site so that when we hit the ground at the beginning of 2025, we've got an infrastructure site ready to go with some basic administration, power, communications, etc. So we think we're well positioned to deliver on this timeline. So I guess in summary, it's a sustainable, low-cost operation that we're looking to develop here. It's conventional, simple DMS processing. It's sustainable. We're recycling all of our water. We're hydro-backed power, so low cost, and certainly as environmentally friendly as we can be. And I know that was very rushed, so I apologise for that, but I think I made it with a minute to go. So any questions?